YouTube, this is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and welcome back. We are now talking week 3 of the NFL season, and we're going to break down every quarterback matchup to help you guys get an idea of who you should be putting in your lineups this week. And of course, we've got a Thursday night matchup, you got your slate of Sunday games, and then one Monday night game. So again, hopefully this helps you guys out. Let's jump right into it. All right, so before we talk about the Thursday night game, there are a lot of injuries when it comes to the quarterback position. And hopefully you guys checked out my waiver wire video to help you guys kind of figure out and navigate who you should be picking up and adding to your rosters. You got quarterbacks like Joe Burrow, Purdy's out, Jayden Daniels, we're not sure what's going on, Justin Fields, right? JJ McCarthy. I mean, the list is continually going on further and further. And if you are one of those few that actually have your starting quarterback from who you drafted, again, you already have a leg up on your competition. But for those who haven't, hopefully this kind of helps you guys out. So let's jump into the Thursday night game as far as the matchup. You've got the Dolphins versus the Bills. As far as this goes, I'm pretty sure you know who I'm going to talk about. Josh Allen is an absolute start. No reason to ever consider, if you've got Josh Allen, you set him, forget him, and then you only have to worry about the bye weeks, right? He had a really great week, obviously, last week. They got the win. Didn't perform as much as you would hoped. I mean, you look at the fantasy stats that Josh Allen is able to do. First week was 38 points or so, depending on how your league is scoring. He went off, right? 2 touchdowns. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. Last week, not so much against the Jets, right? He only put up a little over 10 points. He didn't have the game you had hoped. He didn't score any touchdowns. But if you're a Buffalo Bills fan, you got the win, right? But when it comes to fantasy, he did not quite put up those points that you're used to. But you're still not going to sit him. Like, that's not somebody you're going to put on the bench. Now, when it comes to Tua, that's a different story. Now, Tua, if you're talking fantasy, did a lot better in week 2. He obviously performed a lot better compared to his week 1 out performance. You know, and when you're looking at his performance, he put up 5 points, I think, week 1. He stunk it up. He threw a touchdown, 2 interceptions, but then he still threw another interception as well in week 2. But he did obviously make up for it. He had over 300 passing yards. He had 2 passing touchdowns. So when it comes to fantasy, he did well. As far as a Dolphin fan, I apologize. I know he didn't perform like you'd hope. But for me, against the Bills, I'm actually going to sit him. Now, he may be forced to throw, which might help you in the fantasy world. So, again, if you're super flex, you're going to play him. Maybe if you're a deeper league, you're going to play him. But the Buffalo Bills are a really good team. They've got a top 10 QB pressure right now so far in the season. And then you've got Jalen Waddle, who's dealing with a nagging injury. And we're not sure, he's right now questionable. So I'm going to fade Tua right now. Now, the early slate of the Sunday games. First one I'm going to mention is the Jets versus the Bucs. Bucs going to have that creamsicle uniform. It's going to be a Bucs win. Should be. Because right now, Justin Fields is not going to play, at least as of right now. The concussion protocol's there. You're looking at Tyrod Taylor probably going to be the starter. And right now, Tyrod Taylor is not going to be one in anyone's lineup at this point. He's probably still sitting on waivers. Now, obviously, you're going to put Baker Mayfield in. Baker Mayfield quietly had a pretty good game when it came to week 2. Not what you had hoped. Baker Mayfield is still solid. He's in the top 10 performance. He put up 19 points. The week before he put up 22, but he's still very clean games. He had 2 passing touchdowns. Week 1, he had 3 passing touchdowns. The only concern is if, depending on your points scored, he did take some sacks, which definitely affect him for sure. But going forward, again, Baker Mayfield, absolutely, you're going to put him in there. Now, the Raiders versus the Commanders. Geno Smith, you're going to sit him. 3 interceptions last week, which was a career high for Geno, was not great for him. He's not going to be someone you're going to put in your lineup at this particular moment. I have to see more out of it. And then right now, Washington's got actually a really good front 7. They rank top 5 when it gets to the quarterback hits. Jayden Daniels, if healthy, we'll see how things go. You're going to end up starting him. Daniels obviously continues to have a really good potential and upside. There's always that. And the Raiders defense has given up 5 passing touchdowns in 2 weeks. So again, the defense has not played well. You're going to put in Jayden Daniels for that. Now, the Texans versus the Jaguars. I'm going to sit CJ Stroud. I don't trust him. He's got a little bit of a shoulder issue. He's questionable. We're not sure how that's going to play. And honestly, even if he's active, Jacksonville's actually done a pretty good job against quarterbacks. When you're looking at their stats, they've actually in the top 10 against quarterbacks. They've actually done a really good job. And let's be honest, CJ Stroud right now, out of quarterbacks in fantasy, he is QB 26. He is not playing well at all. So he is definitely fading. The offensive line struggling. He's not getting the ball out quick enough. And when he does have a chance, he just doesn't have the weapons outside of Nico Collins. No one's afraid of that running game with Nick Chubb. It's just a lot of concerns. Now with Trevor Lawrence, I am going to start him. I know, obviously, Trevor Lawrence has had his ups and downs, but if you're coming out of week 2, he had a really good game. He did throw 3 touchdowns. He threw almost 300 yards. His 2 interceptions were definitely a concern, and obviously they did lose. So, again, I know that doesn't mean anything to fantasy, but that's something that you're going to have to consider sometimes when you play them. And the Texans actually are about middle of the pack. They do give up some points to the quarterback position. So I really like Trevor Lawrence as well as a nice little start this week. Jumping into the Rams versus the Eagles, Matthew Stafford, you're going to start. He's done really well. Matthew Stafford has done a really good job so far. And if you look at his fantasy output so far, he's not in the top 10, which I would love to. He's in QB 18 right now when it comes to fantasy. But again, really good game. He had almost 300 passing yards. He had 2 touchdowns. And you start to see the connection between him, Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, like that. Man, it's going to be amazing to see how this goes the rest of the season. And I really like this matchup because I think they're going to play and actually match up really well against the Eagles. Now, when it comes to Jalen Hurts, look, he's QB 14. Week 1 against Dallas, who, let's be honest, right now Dallas' defense has struggled. His rushing touchdowns saved him that week. If you're talking just as a pure passer, Jalen Hurts has not been the guy. Like, he is not. And his rushing touchdowns have absolutely saved him. And that's what you're relying on. Can they have the ability against the Rams? Absolutely. But I actually feel like Jalen Hurts is a risk play at this particular moment. There's concerns of obviously the passing game. There may be that game where he's just going to pass 300 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, that kind of output because he's got something to prove. I think Nick Sirianni's got something to prove. But I'll be honest, I'm not a big Cowboy or big Eagle fan as a Cowboy fan. But I will say this: I don't think the Eagles care. They don't care how they get the win. They don't care if Jalen Hurts is throwing a million passes. They don't care. They just want to win. So with that said, if you have Jalen Hurts, I would look to possibly stream another quarterback if you can. If you got to start him, but he is definitely one of my risks this week. I don't feel confident. Now, jumping into the rivalry of Colts versus Titans, I actually really like this matchup. Daniel Jones has looked amazing. I know that sounds crazy to say, but if you look at his fantasy output, he is QB2 only behind Lamar Jackson, and only by 3 or 4 points. Like, understand how crazy that sounds. Daniel Jones is QB2 when it comes to fantasy. He is playing out of his mind. Now, he hasn't thrown a lot of passing touchdowns, so here's where the credit has been. He's thrown a touchdown in each one, but he's got 3 rushing touchdowns. Not something most people are familiar with, but if you've watched Daniel Jones, whether it was college or even for the Giants, he's always had that rushing ability. I mean, heck, I think it was 2022, he rushed for over 700 yards. He has that type of ability, and I think he actually matches up really well for this Colts offense. He is a quarterback. Until something changes, I'm putting him in my lineup. Now, Cam Ward, you're going to sit. I don't think anybody should ever start Cam Ward unless you're in a super flex, deep league, that kind of type of format. Yeah, sure, Cam Ward, I get it. He's been under 10 points. He finally had his first passing touchdown, but otherwise, you're not putting him in there. Now, the Bengals versus the Vikings. This is backup central right here. You've got Jake Browning obviously playing. He's a nice little start risk, right? Like, depending again how your performance is. He did really well when Burrow was hurt before as far as fantasy. He's put up some really good games, but then he's put up some duds, right? He's thrown some interceptions. So those are some concerns. With that said, though, jumping into the Carson Wentz aspect, I am absolutely sitting him. I don't know what this is going to look like. He actually may end up playing really well. The McCarthy, there's a lot of uncertainty. Is McCarthy really hurt, or is it because he's not played well? But as of right now, it's Carson Wentz, and I'm not going to put him in there. That you cannot play him. I don't see this being a positive outcome, and it does worry me for my rankings when it comes to Justin Jefferson. Jefferson's still going to be in there, but I will lower my expectations. He's probably going to low-end QB1 or wide receiver 1, high-end wide receiver 2. So, again, hesitation. Packers versus the Browns. You got Jordan Love. You're going to start him. Totally get it. Jordan Love's played really well so far this season. I'd obviously like to see a little bit more out of him, but the receivers are definitely something of a concern. They don't have that true wide receiver 1. He does a really good job of spreading the ball out. Jordan Love right now is QB 12. And he could kind of inch up, right? He had a good game on week 1 against the Detroit Lions. Really good game against the Commanders. He threw for 2 touchdowns, almost 300 passing yards. That's the kind of game you're hoping to get out of Jordan Love each week. But I still like him. He's going to start. Joe Flacco, you're going to sit. He's struggled. He does not look really good. You're starting to see that age. And, besides Jerry Jeudy, there's really not a lot of options for him anyways. But I'm going to sit him. Falcons versus the Panthers. Michael Penix, I'm sitting. I liked him last week, did not play well. He's having a hard time completing higher than 60%. He's definitely affecting his receivers, Mooney, Drake London. Right now it's the Bijan Robinson show, and that's about it. Plus, Carolina actually gives up the fourth fewest points to quarterback. So, again, really nervous start there. So I would put Michael Penix. I'm also going to sit Bryce Young. A lot of turnovers. Bryce Young is absolutely struggling. I felt really good about him coming into the season because he looked really good at the end of last season for the last 6 games, but really a struggle. Now, give credit to Bryce Young. Last week, I wasn't crazy about him, but he still put up 3 passing touchdowns. He put up over 300 passing yards. So there's potential. Like those are the games I feel like he was able to do, but I'm not 100% confident against the Falcons. Whenever you're dealing with these divisional games, sometimes you get the best out of both sides. And sometimes with that said, I think they are obviously going to know Bryce Young a lot better. Arizona doesn't play, Panthers very often, but if you have to, maybe you start Bryce Young, but I'm going to sit him this week. Going into the next game, you got the last game of the early slate is going to be the Steelers versus the Patriots. Aaron Rodgers, it's a start risk. There's potential, right? Like there's a possibility because realistically, the Patriots have given up some passing have given up some passing points. They're about middle of the pack. They're allowing about 15 points a game or so. So that's kind of where I feel Aaron Rodgers is going to be. He's going to be that 15 to 16 point range. So again, he's a start risk. Now I am going to start Drake Maye. I really like Drake Maye a lot. And the Steelers are struggling. They're giving up the 5th most fantasy points to quarterbacks. Drake Maye played really well. He's right now QB8 for the season. He had over 25 points last week in week 2, a rushing touchdown, 2 passing touchdowns. Like he's played really, really good. So I really like Drake Maye. I'm going to put him in the lineup. Now going to the afternoon slate, you got the Saints versus the Seahawks. Really tough matchup for Spencer Rattler. Gonna sit him. The Seahawks are actually one of the best defenses right now. They're playing really well. They're not being talked about enough, but I really like their defense. Unfortunately, not good for Spencer Rattler. I do like Sam Darnold this week against the Saints. Sam Darnold actually looked really good. Had a really good week 2. Again, with the weapons that he's got, he's developing, some connections with JSN. He's developing a little bit more with Cooper Kupp. He had a lot more involvement last week. The interceptions is definitely something Sam Darnold's got to figure out. Like he's got to figure that out. You can't throw 2 interceptions, especially when you had a really good game. Like he was playing really well. So I do have a little bit of concern there. But as far as the matchup goes, for the Seahawks versus the Saints, the Saints are a team that middle of the pack, they're averaging and allowing about 18 fantasy points. So again, right now, this is a good matchup for Sam Darnold. Broncos versus the Chargers. I am going to start Bo Nix with an asterisk. Again, kind of a risk, right? Like Bo Nix is that quarterback that he may have a really good game, he may have a really bad game. He did have a really good game in week 2. He put up over 20 fantasy points against a really tough Indianapolis defense. He threw for 3 passing touchdowns, did have an interception. But again, definitely had a better week coming into this one. I expected a really good game out of week 1, especially against the Titans who have struggled, but give it, maybe some time. But I liked him last week. This week is a little bit tougher. It's more of a risk, but I would put him in there just because I do think this might be a little fun game between the Chargers and the Broncos. Justin Herbert, you're going to start. He's playing out of his mind right now. He actually may end up being the lead when it comes to the MVP. He's playing really good, a lot more than I had thought he was going to. Like I really thought they were going to truly run the ball with both Najee and Hampton, but they're not as much as I thought they would. And right now, Denver's been giving up a lot of big plays. So their defense I expected to be a lot better, but they're not. Cowboys versus the Bears. Dak Prescott, you're going to start, again, playing really, really well against the Bears defense that has been struggling. So Dak Prescott's an absolute start. Caleb Williams is kind of a risk. The reason why I say that is because he has had some dud moments, right? The offensive line's still struggling, but this is a game that if you're going to have Caleb Williams start, this is the week. Dallas Cowboys secondary struggle. They just let Russell Wilson have a career type of game, putting up 450 passing yards. I mean, he looked amazing. And honestly, Caleb Williams could put up something crazy like that too, because Dallas can't rush the quarterback. They can't stop the secondary from making stupid mistakes. A lot of zone play. Now, it is going to be interesting with Coach Eberflus. Obviously the defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys was the head coach. We'll see how that plays out, but I don't think it's going to change a lot. I still think Caleb Williams is a nice little risk, and he may be someone you want to start. Cardinals versus the 49ers. I'm going to start Kyler Murray. I really like him. against the 49ers. You're looking at the 49ers defense. They have actually done a pretty good job. They're only allowing 12 points to the quarterback position. But if you're looking at Kyler Murray with his rushing ability, again, the buildup of, the rapport, again, getting back to what they should be doing, which is getting the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr., which they did not do in week 2, especially all you Marvin Harrison, folks owners. So, but I still think it's a nice little turnaround, especially against the 49ers. Mac Jones, I was hesitant. I did put him as a sit. I do worry a little bit. I think he actually might end up shocking me and put up like 15 to 16 points, but Mac Jones, I'm a little bit worried. I'd still like to see a little more. They just have so many issues at the wide receiver position, but it does help that you have Christian McCaffrey who's playing really well, and he's obviously healthy. Now, jumping into the Sunday night matchup, you've got the Chiefs versus the Giants. I don't know how this became a Sunday night matchup, but that's where we're at right now. And I do have Patrick Mahomes as a start. I know obviously everyone's talking about the Eagles game. Everyone has kind of just like forgotten that Mahomes still is Mahomes. Not playing quite to the level that we expect. Travis Kelce dropped that one ball, which became a turnover. Like, there's just a lot going on. And let's be honest, the receiving core is horrendous right now. Hollywood Brown gets some targets, but he's not amazing. He's still dealing with the injuries of Xavier Worthy. Obviously, Rashee Rice is still suspended. So do give it some time. Patrick Mahomes will get back to his form, but right now, you still start him if you got him, but I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't put up amazing points. Now, Russell Wilson, I'm going to sit. I know he came off of a crazy game, and you probably don't even have him on your team. He's probably on waivers still, but Kansas City is still a good defensive team. They're 12th against the quarterback position, only allowing 12 points. So again, I think it's going to be a tough matchup for Russell Wilson, so I'm going to sit him. And the last game of the week is going to be a Monday night game between the Lions versus the Ravens. It's going to be a really good game. I actually am looking very, very excited. I'm very excited for this one. You're going to start both Goff and Lamar, right? Goff just put up 5 touchdowns, absolutely demolished his former OC. Goff was outstanding. And of course, you got Lamar. There's no reason not to. Like, Lamar is an absolute start every single week. There's no reason to go into details. He's been amazing. He's the number 1 quarterback right now in fantasy by a few points, but he is still number 1. His arm, his legs, I mean, everything about it. Again, with confidence. So that is my week 3 start and sit for the quarterback position. Of course, if you have questions, hit me up in the comments down below. If you guys have anything that's going on, whether it be trades or anything like that, let me know. And if you haven't already, again, check out all my other start and sit videos I'll be dropping this week. Enjoy your games. Enjoy a victory for week 3. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and I'll check you guys out next time.